Hey everybody, today we are going to do a simple before and after water change here on my office tank. I think it's pretty obvious to anybody looking at this that it is long overdue for a water change. I've topped the water off several times now. You can see how the water line keeps going down. We've got algae and crud and everything sort of growing above the water line at this point. The filter is not only barely moving water through it, even the backflow side is barely moving water at this point, which means that the inflow, where it's picking the water up, is probably at least partially clogged. And then of course the tube itself just gets biogrowth and stuff, will build up inside the intake tube. So we're gonna have to pull that off. We'll get that all washed out. We will give the biofilter a little bit of a clean. We'll put a new filter pad in there. Of course, we will do the water change. I'll use a gravel vac, and while I don't really gravel vac this tank in the traditional sense, I do sort of go over the surface and I pick up any of the loose fish poop and stuff that's just kind of lying on the surface. This tank is really heavily stocked with these red-wag platies, as you can see. This is a 20 long, and they just breed like crazy in here. I think I've reached sort of the maximum capacity. They don't seem to be expanding any beyond this, or if they do, they're eating their own fry or something. I feel like I've just sort of achieved this stasis, but it's a really heavily populated stasis. So we're going to go ahead and get that water changed up for them. I'll do a dip strip test and we'll see what the nitrate and everything looks like. You can see I got that pothos plant on the back there. It's not doing bad. It's got a few shoots growing here and there. I will often cut pieces of it off. In fact, I cut some of it down not too long ago. There was some growing in the back, there was some growing up in the side there, and so I just removed a bunch of it. So we'll see how effective that's being at pulling some of the nitrate out of the tank. Otherwise, you can see it's a very heavily populated tank and is probably going to be a fairly significant amount of nitrate in there. It's interesting looking down into the tank. You really realize how right up against the glass all of those fish really are. So, all right, everybody, let me get started on it, and we are going to call this your before. And there's your after. So I did everything I said I was going to do, and a few other little odds and ends that we'll talk about as we go over everything. So if we start with the filter, it was really gunked up. The filter pad itself, the replaceable part, was just gross. I'm surprised water was even flowing through it. It felt like mud. It was almost solid and cakey, like wet clay. The biofilter didn't feel a whole lot better. So both of those came out. The biofilter got nice and wiped out and clean. I don't ever really scrub it or rinse it. Scrub it out when I rinse it. I just give it a good rinse. I just sort of wipe everything down and get the water flowing through it again. I don't apply any soap or hot water or anything. Just a good, thorough, vigorous rinsing with my cold tap water. And remember, my tap water does not have any chlorine or anything in it. I have well water. So if you do have chlorinated water and you're washing out your biofilter here, make sure you use some of the tank water that you're doing a water change with rather than your chlorinated tap water. In my case, I do not have chlorinated water, so my tap water is okay to use to clean that. So filter change, we did get the filter intake all nice and cleaned out. That, as I suspected, had a bunch of gunk growing in it. I did not have to trim back the pothos plant, although I did consider it. I kind of don't like the way the pothos plant is blocking the view of that Anubias back there. I really like that Anubias. I think that's pretty, and we don't really see it. It just sort of blends in behind the pothos plant. You may not even have noticed that there was a separate plant back there. You thought maybe it was just part of the pothos plant. So that kind of bothers me. I'd like to see that Anubias a little more. I did find a surprising amount of the Java moss, surprise, growing in there all over everything. You can see it's attached somehow or another. It has attached itself to the face of my filter intake. And now my filter has a little beard that flows down into the water, but I like it. It looks cool, so I'm leaving it alone. I left that part there. But I did pull a bunch of it out of the weeds, out of the roots and everything of the pothos plant. There was a bunch of it that was growing all in the top of the Java Windelov there. And so I pulled a bunch of that out, and I also went into the back where the power head is, and you can see how much more open it is now. Well, maybe you can, I don't know. But it's a lot more open. We got another little anubias back here. Now the water's deeper than I thought. We got a little bit of anubias back here, and I think that's some anubias growing underneath the power head too. But I've got a power head and an air stone in the back corner, so I removed a big chunk of the Java Windelov that was growing in the corner. So that's going to go downstairs and be added to my grow out buckets. Once again, I will have Java Windelov available for sale. I've got some downstairs now, and now I've just added some more to it. So Java Windelov, Java Moss, probably some regular Java Moss. If you're interested, contact me. My email's down below. I just about always have some kind of aquatic plants for sale, so contact me. We'll talk about it, and we'll get you set up with some kind of aquatic plants. So there you go. Otherwise, I just did what I said with the gravel vac. I just kind of got a bunch of stuff off the surface. I wiped down the glass on the inside, and then I also wiped down the glass on the outside with Windex today. I don't usually do the outside of this tank. Doesn't really need it necessarily very often, but today I just felt like it was a little grungy and dusty and needed a good wipe down, and so there you go. It looks nice and clean. I wish my neon blue dwarf gourami had made a little more of an appearance. I think we did see it dash under the power head in the back corner there. I can see it now. It's hiding behind the heater. Right there, if you look really closely, you can see it back behind those bubbles hiding in the corner. So it was still a little upset from the water change. It was still a little skittish and kind of hiding in the back. And now that I've been booming over the tank and leaning over it and talking and everything else, we're probably not going to get a good look at that fish for another couple of hours. So there you go. There's my before and after water change on my 20-gallon open-topped office tank. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell. And don't forget, I do a live stream every Friday night and Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss those notifications for either of those. So thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.